Who are the standouts, the torchbearers, as we call them? For those that don't know, there's a statue with a guy holding a torch, and it's the Torchbearer Award that individual students win, not just an athletic award, but we've turned it into an athletic award. So today's tough question is tough. Caleb, who are our torchbearers after the Vols destroy NC State over the weekend?
Oh, the torchbearers are starting at number 5. And I want to say this up front. I'm giving torchbearers to playmakers who racked up the stats, but I could have given it to everybody on the defensive front 7. And it was kind of really hard to separate them out, if I'm being honest. But I am going to start with Will Brooks. He had the game-changing play, the turning point, which I mentioned on Saturday with the pick 6, a walk-on safety to come in and be able to do that. I mean, the play was set up for him by Joshua Josephs getting the pressure, and in reality, it was set up for him by the designed call from Tim Banks. Tim Banks schemed that pick 6, but Will Brooks still is the one who made the key play on it. So because of that, because he almost came away with another interception and was part of really shutting down NC State's passing attack. They were talking about the defensive front 7, but they were horrible throwing the ball. I got to give Will Brooks a torchbearer.
I love that. And you were down on him. I think that this is the last year under a Josh Heupel team at Tennessee. You're going to see a feel-good story like a former walk-on be able to get into the lineup. And I'm not sure, no offense to Will Brooks and the play he made on Saturday, I'm not sure he stays in the starting lineup all year with the deep, talented, but inexperienced secondary that they have. But good for him. I think we both wondered if Tennessee was in trouble in the secondary because he was out there. And hey, what he did on Saturday, kudos. And give him credit too. I didn't see him get burned at any point. He almost had a second interception. So we're not privy to the grades per se and what Will Brooks did, but I thought he played a good overall game. It wasn't just the interception return. So I'm with you on that one. Who's next?
Hey now. All right, next, number 4. And again, difficult for me because I could have given it to every one of the linebackers, but I'm actually going to say Arian Carter. I think Arian Carter had the breakout game even over Keenan Peele and Jeremiah Thielander. Again, I'm nitpicking. If you want to say no, it should be Keenan Peele. I can't even fight you on it, but I just personally felt like Arian Carter leaped off the screen a little bit more on Saturday.
I would disagree. I think Peele, his aggressiveness downhill is exactly what Tennessee needs to beat the University of Georgia, which is the final hurdle for Josh Heupel. I think his aggressiveness downhill, he did play sideline to sideline better than I thought he could. I know he got called for the personal foul, but I'd rather say whoa than sick him. And he's not going to do that again, I don't believe. I think he's 26 years old. He's mature enough not to do that. But he almost, I don't mean this to sound mean. He almost killed a man. Did you see the one hit where the guy's going down and he just absolutely form tackle, shoulder right into the chest, and the guy got absolutely thumped. And I thought that sent a message that Tennessee's defense is very, very physical. So that wasn't even a stat, but it was an incredible hit. The tackle had already been made, but as he was going down, he may have gotten a half tackle for that. Who's next, Caleb?
All right, we're going to the outside rushers now. And James Pierce had 2 quarterback hurries. Joshua Josephs forced the hurry that resulted in the pick 6. Tyree West was very solid. But Dave, I'm going Dominic Bailey, who had a strip sack and actually had 3 tackles in the game, was very effective. I didn't see this from Dominic Bailey at all. I thought Tyree West was going to steal that spot, but it sounds like Rodney Garner is running. See, the reason this is hard, Dave, is Rodney Garner runs such a deep rotation. Nobody's really going to stand out with big plays, but Dominic Bailey was, to me, the best of the ends in this game.
You mentioned 5 guys that I can't disagree with, so I'll give that a
hey now.
Yeah.
Hey now.
I mean, they were that good. They were that good. And if at some point the torchbearers need to be the entire group of ends or the entire group of tackles, you can do that. Take 1 second, hit the like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate that. It means a lot. Who else are the torchbearers? And we'll get to the report card here in just a moment, brought to you by Work Trucks.
So my number 2 torchbearer, my number 1 defender in the game, and Maybe I'm sympathetic because he's a Memphis kid, but he's also the leader of this unit. I want to send a shout out to Bryson Eason. I want to send a shout out to Jackson Moy, and I want to send a shout out to Omar Norman Lott. They all made plays. Amari Thomas was the heart of that defensive line in the trenches. So he's the leader of that group. He had a tackle for a loss, had 1.5 tackles for a loss, and a pass deflection, actually. He is the guy that brings the rest of them on. He is the Rodney Garner on the field. And because of that, I got to give the way they played to the leadership to a certain degree of Amari Thomas. And it's almost like a leadership award, but I feel like he's the one who basically carried the torch for all of the defensive line playing so well.
I got no problem with that. We'll roll that. I think Amari Thomas is the leader of that group. And after the game in his press conference, it was pretty obvious when he said, you got to keep getting better, keep getting better. He's the leader. That's why he went to SEC Media Days twice. So name him by default, but the whole group was really, really good. Hey now. All right. Who's next? Who's our next torchbearer?
And number one on the torchbearer list, and guys, this is really hard for me to do, okay? But I had to put an offensive guy on there, and came down to Nico or Dylan Sampson, and I actually gave it to Dylan Sampson. Hey now. And it was really hard for me to do it, but because I might end up swallowing my pride on Dylan Sampson. But yes, Dylan Sampson was incredible in this game.
Yep.
I mean, 132 rushing yards, 39 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Dude was he was elite.
Yep. It was just incredible. I was impressed by him. His size is always going to be something that he's asked about, but I believe that you'll see more and more of him in the passing game. And his pass blocking to me is perfectly fine now. That's no longer an issue. And I believe that he'll be kind of, and our own Stacey Oliver wrote about this Saturday morning. He'll be kind of a Marshall Faulk type. Now, I'm not saying he's as good, but I think he's going to get more experienced in the passing game as we move forward. And also, and we're going to get to this in the report card, I'm sure, but Josh Heupel has thrown out about 15 different looks in the first 2 games as far as pre-snap formations. I mean, he is way more multiple. Tennessee's tight ends have given him a lot of flexibility. I'm sure we'll get to that in coaching, but I don't think that you have truly seen what this offense will look like. And I don't think we know, because so far everything they've run out there has gone at a pretty high level. I believe that you'll actually see this offense change from week to week, and instead of being what it was in 2022, and that was pretty static. We knew what we were going to get. It was going to be 3 wide receivers and a tailback. We knew that, and a tight end. So before we get to the report card, I got to remind you that we're brought to you in part by our good friends at Work Trucks, all about trucks that are actually available. If you can pull up that website, Caleb, it's phenomenal. Trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work vehicle. Now, time is money. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down, has all the space to carry what you need. That's what Work Trucks is intent on offering, while other dealerships just can't do it. Contracting is all about time. Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth trips, and trucks that pass the highest standards to be put to work. The process is quick and easy when choosing a vehicle for Work Trucks. Cargo vans, utility body trucks with an iPod, work bodies installed, pickup trucks of all sizes, anything special like cranes or dump trucks. Work Truck supplies vehicles to people just like you, contractors, to get back on the road. No dealership runaround. If you're a contractor, you need to know Work Trucks, and that's a fact. Service industry, Work Trucks. They have the trucks that your business has to have. You need Work Trucks, Clinton Highway in Knoxville and in downtown Birmingham for the entire inventory. Go to worktrucksllc.com with an X, worktrucksllc.com. Don't burn time, worktrucksllc.com. They'll fit your needs to a T. Proud supporter of the Tennessee Vols. Caleb, report card time. Is that what's up next, my friend? As Caleb bounced off the screen, but now he's back. So we've got Caleb back. Did we share Work Trucks with everybody, their website? Have we done that?
Yes. Oh, I think Dave, I think we're both trying to hit things at the same time. Just give me a second.
I'm not hitting anything. I'm not going to touch a thing. All right. So
here we are.
You saw Work Trucks right there. If you want to scroll up, worktrucksllc.com. Caleb, let's get to the report card. Because we know that Work Trucks always gets an A+ for contractors, but Tennessee, not A plus across the board. Never are, because Caleb is an absolute harsh judge. So let's see what he's got going. Hit like and subscribe now. Someone asked about the Oklahoma game. When is the kickoff? I don't know that we know yet. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how the new TV deal works. You used to have to wait for CBS when they'd get that. When you would get that exemption. Nevertheless, let's get to the report card. Caleb, what do you got? I will set you up, and if I agree with you, then here comes a. Hey now. If I think you're a little low, it'll be a. That's crazy. All right, let's start. Do you want to start or end with Nico?
We'll start with Nico. We'll start with the quarterback play.
Okay, quarterback play. You give a B.
Yes.
Okay. First question I have is, how much do you put the second interception on him?
None. 0%.
Okay. I would disagree there, and it's why I might even go B minus. I think if you're really elite, you tuck the ball and take the sack. And that's what Peyton Manning would have done. So I actually, surprisingly enough, that's crazy, because of the errant throw, which ended in an interception, and another throw outside, would be a little bit lower, like a B minus. That speaks to Tennessee's depth and overall prowess, because they still won easily with a human quarterback and not just a future phenom. Caleb, running backs?
Yeah, I mean,
or go ahead with that.
I mean, in the other parts, I mean, he missed an out route to Squirrel White, threw another interception, overthrew Brew McCoy for a touchdown on the first drive, and the big pass he did have to Squirrel White, honestly, would have been a touchdown if he hit him more in stride. He threw it a little too far, and Squirrel White had to reach out for him. So, I'm
still
B minus.
B minus against a ranked opponent in your third start is unbelievable. So nobody's knocking Nico for sure. All right, running backs, A plus. I got you there.
Yeah, it's an A plus. I mean, guys, what can we say that hasn't already been said about Dylan Sampson's play in this game? That was just incredible what he did. So, yeah, I think it's an easy A plus. Honestly, I don't even think it's a debate.
Yep, I agree. And next up, let's go to, as I bounce around my screen, you got wide receivers with an A. Hey now. I agree with that. Why not an A plus?
So part of an A plus is you have to perform spectacularly without any mistakes, and it's not the wide receiver's fault. They did nothing wrong, but they didn't really have chances to perform spectacularly. Is that fair to say? In this one, just the flow of the game.
That's fair. I will go with that.
Yeah, so because of that, it's an A. They didn't do anything wrong. I had no complaints about how the wide receivers played in this game whatsoever.
Nope, I agree. All right, who's up next, Caleb?
Tight ends, and I'm going A plus. Miles Kitselman and Holden Stays had touchdown catches. Kitselman should have had a second, but yeah, no, it's an A plus for tight ends.
Okay, if you want to take part in our poll question, it's on the YouTube page. Tennessee is ranked number 7 in the AP poll. I don't really pay attention to the coaches poll because I don't know who's doing it. But is that too high, too low, or just right? Vote on there right now. Caleb, next position up is?
Oh, next position up is offensive line, and I'm sorry, but once again, I have to give this unit a B. The John Campbell penalty, the John Campbell missed block that resulted in Nico Imaliava's interception, and then the missed call on the downfield blocker that waved off a touchdown pass. It wasn't a good call, but it's still he shouldn't have put himself in position to get that call. So I'm still, it's still because of those things. You got to go B with offensive line.
That's crazy. I would go A minus, but we're not that far off. Defensive line A plus. I mean, I think we can agree on that, right?
This should be like extra credit for the defensive line. It should be like an A plus plus. Like you should have had they should have like instead of a score of 100, they should have a 125. I mean, it was insane how great they played.
Nope. Agreed. Up next, Tennessee's linebackers, who we talked about previously, they get an A.
They do. They get an A. And the only reason it's not an A plus is Keenan Bealey's personal foul penalty. Now, you can say you like it, but still technically a negative play. I can't go A+ when a linebacker committed a personal foul penalty. So, but otherwise would have been an A+.
I can completely roll with that. I mean, you shouldn't ever have that happen, but it's a sign that he's an ultra aggressive player, and I like it. Now, if it crops up again, if that sort of play cropped up in the fourth quarter in a close game against Georgia, it could be disastrous. So I'm not endorsing that play, but I am telling you I can live with it if I'm head coach Josh Heupel. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fair.
Okay.
I totally understand that.
And I'm probably going to make him an example. I'm going to pull him aside before you go through the tape. And I'm probably going to make him an example because he's an older guy and he can take it. All right. Secondary, A-.
Yep. Secondary gets an A-. I honestly, you could talk me into an A or an A+. But the pulling of Boo Carter for over pursuing early when NC State was moving up the ball on that first drive, I think it's so nitpicky, I know, but it's like, I can't give everybody straight A+. So I think that's enough to say it was an A-. They were out of position a couple of times. It was mostly hard to judge them. I mean, honestly, you and I could have played secondary back there on Saturday, given what the front seven was doing.
Okay, so place kicking, A-.
Yep, and it was only an A- because Josh Heupel forced Max Gilbert out to kick a 53-yarder when the game was already in hand, and he shouldn't have been forced to kick that field goal. Otherwise, it would have been an A+. But a missed field goal, you can't get it an A+ when you miss a field goal.
Fair. Punting, return game, AA.
Yeah, Jackson Ross is back, had one punt, 43 yards, went inside the 20, and Squirrel White didn't run any punts back, but he had 3 great returns. So, I mean, look, I can't say anything negative about it.
You didn't do coaching, which you usually don't, but that's the one that I'm going to ask you to give for a couple of reasons. One, because you deserve to get in a lot of trouble like I did back in the day when I did the report card on deadline Saturday night and coaching was a category. Imagine how that went Monday after a game. If you gave coaching a grade, what would it be?
Oh, if I gave coaching a grade, it's an A+. I mean,
Okay.
there was nothing wrong with the coaching in that game. And honestly, even from the play calling perspective, I mean, that shovel pass on 3rd and 15 on the first touchdown drive for Tennessee, that's one of the best calls I've ever seen. I mean, it was so perfectly timed. Nobody saw it coming, by the way. And I mean, that was just brilliantly done. And Heupel schemed 2 more touchdown passes. So, coaching gets an A+.